can you see this person's perspective, but can you see beyond this barrier that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
You know what? I'm so excited. I'm not like Mr. Rogers. Teri gave me a sweater. It's one of those big, long, comfy sweaters. I feel like I'm wearing a comforter. It just feels so good. It is my comforter. It comforts me. So I am so happy. So if y'all see me wearing this, just pretend I'm Mr. Rogers. I mean, like I'm walking into my comfort zone, and this show is my comfort zone and my non-comfort zone all at the same time, because we just put it all out there, y'all.
Right. And I love it because it's got pockets.
Oh, it's got pockets. And my favorite glasses, my Blu-ray glass or blue, whatever, the blue light glasses, Blu-rays movies, blue light glasses that help me with computers. I had lost them. Where are they? Where are they? They were in my pocket.
There you go.
So it's like that. Do you guys have a comforting piece of clothing? You might need it after this show. Oh, how are you, Teri?
I'm good. I'm good. Today is a new day, and I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
You know, I'm fantastic. I'm coming off a weekend of a retreat, and we had a ladies' retreat. Teri got to visit with us. She didn't get to stay with us because Jack has had an injury to his leg, her dog, and we had somebody else, two other people who couldn't come because of dog things then. And so we just, that's the way we roll. It's like, we do you, boo. That's what we have to do.
But I tell you, the time I was there was lovely.
And you were there during the prayer board that I made. So, you know,
I have mine in my office.
And can you tell people, because you had somebody come into your office about your prayer and mention your prayer board and loved it, and they're going to do this with their kids?
Yes, I had a client come in this week, and you know, my clients know everything in my office. They know when I move a coaster. They know when there's new candy in the jar. They know everything because they are very astute is not the right word, but they're very aware of their surroundings. So, you know, I actually do consult with clients if I'm getting ready to get, you know, like if I'm going to paint or if I'm going to do things like that. I just ask people kind of like, you know, hey, here's some, I don't ask for permission, but I just say, here's the palette that I'm going with. Just familiarize yourself because it will be one of these colors when you come back. You know, and so they're not so connected to the lobby area, though you love it and it's comfortable. But the inside office is a very sacred space, so it's a comfortable space. And I had a client come in this week, and in the middle of the session, they said, "That's new." And I said, yeah, I did that on Sunday, and it was sharing. And they said, so it's like a vision board, like what you've talked to me about vision boards. And I said, it is a form of a vision board. Yes, absolutely. And so I was like, this is considered a prayer board. And, you know, so I was telling her about it, and, you know, and she asked if she could see it. And I said, absolutely. And so gave it to her. She looked it over and she was like, I love this. And she said, I'm always looking for activities to do with with my daughters. And this looks like something that they would absolutely love to do. And I said, fantastic. So, Shelley, who was the facilitator of our event, our exercise, craft project, enlightenment circle, whatever we want to call it, she had sent out the information where she had gotten all of the supplies, and I forwarded those to my client, along with the book, Worry Less, Pray More. So she has everything that we had, and she's going to do it with her. She's getting everything for this weekend, and she's going to do it with her children.
I just think that's beautiful. That's kind of how we take what we go to our little places and we get filled up. But if we just hold it inside for us and we don't share it, it's kind of a waste of that immense gift, because we can take it on ourselves, but if we share it with somebody, the gift gets bigger within us. And that's what I love. It, you know, and if you guys would like to be part of future retreats that we do, whether it is because there will be, we have some retreats planned for women's groups, we have some family ones, and we have some where men and women who don't have to be coupled up, just people can come. And so we have some. So if you are interested in future retreats that we will have planned, you just put that in the comments here, and I'll reach out to you, and then I'll start an email stream with you. And so to let you know when we're going to do something. All right, moving on. Our subject today. Whew,
what is our subject today? I always love this time of the show. I'm like, what are we talking about today? What are we talking about today, Devon?
I find out what's bothering me, and I just basically I'm invite y'all into my session where I'm. And this one is just like the name started out. Why the hell am I so pissed? But so I can't help it. I'm angry. Okay. The relationship is over. The abuse, the lying, the gaslighting, the narcissist is moved on to somebody else. You have blocked. You're not connected. But why in the hell, years later, are you still angry? Why? Even sometimes more angry than when it actually happened. You have found your anger shoes and you walk around in them, and it just pops up. Most of the time you're okay, but then sometimes you just go, ugh. That's what we're talking about today.
All righty. I cannot relate to that at all. So, but seriously, I'm actually, I'm not angry. I think that the reason that people tend to recycle through anger is because they're still wounded about whatever is unfinished business in their life. And a lot of times, a person that's an unwell person in somebody's life, whether it's a boss, a coworker, a partner, a parent, a child, whomever it is, there can be a sense of injustice, especially if you feel like you're a good person. Mm-hmm. Why someone has the ability, the wherewithal, and the desire to hurt you when you're a good person. Now, even that unwell person can look in their mirror and go, why do they want to hurt me? I'm a good person. Mm-hmm. So it is a reflective question, but for most people, it's because they've been triggered by whether it's a season, a situation, something of that nature, and anger is the easiest accessible emotion that we have. Our society makes and invites anger to be the most accessible emotion for us and response for us, because everybody can justify being angry.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's not, I mean, I don't particularly like being angry. I don't like it, but it is, there's levels of it. You know, you can be angry where you're spewing and spitting. You can be angry where you want to go throat punch somebody. You can be angry where you say, I never want to see you again. And all of that is they went to the finals a couple of times. To say temporary sounds a little flippant, but it's situational.
Right. We got some people joining us. Elizabeth is here, and we're talking about our comfort zone clothes, wearing it. I love that. And I hope Jack is feeling better, and his mama too. Well, Corinne couldn't find us on Facebook Live, so she came to YouTube. You know, sometimes there are some pages that are slower to connect than others. And if you, wherever you're watching us, we're glad that you're there. We're glad you're on YouTube. You know, right. Click that subscription and click that bell, because when it, you know, we love the YouTube. That's on the Main Street Today YouTube channel. And Elizabeth says, okay, now we're moving into our subject. I think when love is involved, it goes to the deepest core of our being that gets trampled on.
Absolutely. And when we love is the heightened one, right? And so the more you love, the bigger your anger can be. Because you've got to match that level. Now, there's also a different level of anger that comes in when protectiveness comes in for ourselves. And we don't want a person, a situation, again, no matter what that person's role is in our life, we don't want to let them back in to hurt us again.
Right.
But
Absolutely not.
The key to that is do your work so that you're not spending your life being unnecessarily angry about people coming back into your life. And if they stroll across your property line, well, they're just strolling across the property line, and pay them no mind. When they come banging on your door, then you gotta answer the door and deal with the situation. But just because somebody is in the same city or the same whatever, or you see them on social media, doesn't mean that you need to give them free reign of your emotion to do self-harm to yourself, whether it's
right.
stress or whatever.
Well, the thing that always gets me is, I start looking at why in the world do they go after people that are my friends and tell them lies about me? And why did those friends somehow find that there's a ring of truth in that? And I'm going, I've known you for 35 years. Why in the world would you ask me a question like that? Is that the person that you know? Well, I don't know. Well, you just met them. Could they be a psychopath? Have you thought about that? Those things come up, and that's some of the things that make me angry. And then, I don't know if you've ever experienced anything like that, but you guys that are watching, Angie just joins us. Hi there. And Lisa just joins us. You're not late, Lisa. We're here at this party. This is Wednesdays, and there's no rules about this. That's why we have a replay. Elizabeth says, just because they are a narcissist doesn't mean we didn't love them deeply and with all our being before they hurt us. For me, that's like giving a sacred part of myself to another. Oh, that's...
Yeah. And I want to say, it can be someone, I know we hear the word narcissist is thrown around a lot these days, like, Skittles and Chiclets. I mean, everybody is like, somebody's a narcissist. Narcissism, borderline personality are two of the most hardest, I don't diagnose people, but they are two of the most hardest personality disorders to diagnose. So you will hear me say often unwell or unhealthy or toxic. They all sort of fall in the same thing. They all have very similar characteristic traits, and they will all blindside the shit out of you when you least expect it. And, and I agree exactly with what Elizabeth was saying. You can be in love with someone who may not even know they're unwell, and you can love them with every fiber of your being, and it can still not work. And you have to be able to create a space to grieve that, and also learn how to not live in that hurt, because living in that hurt, you're living in invisible shackles, and you're creating a limited future for yourself.
Yeah, it's the resentment seeds that got sown that were really hard for me. That was, there was a lot of resentment, but I used to have this, but I used to have this, but I used to have this. And this was what my house looked like. And this is what there are things that I had that I start grieving that more than the person, and then getting rid of the thought of they're going to get theirs and praying for karma to heap coals on their head, I was really struck, it's been years now at this point, but I was struck by and you can call it what you want. I call it the Holy Spirit nudge. Pray for your enemy. And it's as if God was sitting right in the room with me. Because I have a lot of quiet time when I just go and sit out, and, God has a name. He calls me, and I know that it's him. I feel it. I feel his presence. And it's like, pray for your enemy. And I go, well, you're going to have to tell me what to pray, because I can't do that. I'm just like, I mean, I'm having this. Lisa says the God smack. Yeah, but he does it with a kiss for me. I think it's that he does it with a hug and says, okay, you want to get better? Pray for them. And it was almost instantaneous. Carrying around that anger suitcase for this long, I felt the thing. I felt it come off of me. It was like, it wasn't like I want to go have coffee with them. It wasn't like I had to, but I don't want to get even. I don't want them to have ill will. It's just like it vaporized. All of that stuff going on in my head vaporized with praying for my enemy. And I prayed good into their life. And I prayed, it's like that they find you, that they walk in your path, that they get the desires of their heart, and that they get well. That they get well. That was the one that really stuck with me. Pray that they get healed. Pray that they get well. And Elizabeth has a beautiful prayer, and she's bless them, change me. I thought that's so simple, beautifully put, beautifully put. She also adds, also for me, part of my anger ended up being directed at myself for failing for something I thought I should have been able to see. So I had to forgive myself. Oh, that's the big one.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is
what
we just had a little bit of a glitchy thing. What were you saying?
Oh, I just, Lisa just added, yes, pray for their happiness. I pray for their wellness as much as anything. That's what I was able to do. I couldn't pray for the other yet, but I could pray for wellness. And whatever that means, whatever that is, it's like I pray for wellness and for that to happen.
And I have a different take on it.
I knew you would.
I do. I do. I think that we can be, I can be angry. I can be upset. I can be hurt because that's what's underneath. I know that's what's underneath when I'm angry or I'm upset, I know hurt is underneath that. I don't, and I have never found myself, I'm trying to think back to people I've been in relationships with. I've never found myself wishing ill will on them, because if I love them at any point in my life, if I love them, I can't hate them. I just can't. I can't wish ill will on them. And I get it. Everybody's like, oh, aren't you just special? Not really. But I think that if I truly love someone, it would be just, there would be a discord there if I tried to hate them. Now, I can be incredibly disappointed with how they've shown up, incredibly hurt, but I don't hate, now some people might not, that. But.
Elizabeth says I have, but I don't think I really loved him to begin with.
Well, and you know what, Elizabeth, that's a very good point. And that was ruminating in my head was I wonder if people who get in that space of just really hating someone, part of that I think is a trauma response. But then I also wonder if you can get into a part like we talk about the unwell people, the borderline people, the narcissist people. If one of those folks can get into a place where they just downright hate that other person, I'm willing to bet they never really loved that other person to begin with. It just didn't go the way they wanted it to go. So now they're pissed. And do we get upset for ourselves for loving someone like that? We could, but what's the point? Every relationship you've ever been in, there's a gift in that. You've had to have had some good times in it. You've had to have had a learning experience in it. And if I walk away not hating, then that's a win for me. And I just don't, I want everyone to be happy. And sometimes it hurts thinking about someone else being happy. Not that you don't want them to be happy,
Right.
but it
Right.
hurts thinking about them being happy.
I'm just gonna be just honest. There's that
Psalm.
psalm. You know, it said pray for them, and I'm gonna pray the scripture on that one, the Psalms, where it says heaping a bowl of hot coals on their head. That's what I'm gonna pray, God. That's what I'm gonna pray, because I'm gonna tell you, my anger suitcase, you know, stomping mad, because I brought goodness to this. I brought kindness to this. I really wanted to be good in this situation, and you know, this was someone I worked with, and it was just like, and they did what, you know, and it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing, and I get asked about this person every single day of my life, and sometimes I get mad. And I'm going, oh my gosh, when is that day going to go when, you know, they're not constantly a part of the question, you know. And but it's interesting how you can, when you start praying for them, whatever it is you pray, whatever it is, sometimes just sitting in silence and let God whisper to you about them. You know, I pray for the resentment to be taken away. I pray for the anger to be taken away. I pray for those things. But when I made the point of moving into that, I pray for their wellness. I pray that they're just okay, that they feel better, that they don't hurt so much that they have to hurt other people, that they don't have to manipulate anymore. Because I'm going to tell you, that manipulation is like kudzu, and it wraps around people very quickly. It's just like, and it taps in, and you can see with, and I'm going to use the word narcissist, because a narcissist sociopath is what I have had the most dealings with. It's graduated for me, because in the codependent lifestyle, which is my ism, you attract, if you're not doing your own work. For me, if I didn't do my own work, I would keep attracting not only the narcissist that I started with, then the narcissist with a little bit more power, and then to the 10th power, and then all of a sudden you get into, wow, well, that wasn't enough, let me get into this, let me get into that. And you repeat these patterns until you do the work for yourself. It's like the sober person who says, I'm just not going to drink anymore, but they don't do their work. It's like sobering. What do you have when you sober up the horse thief? You have a sober horse thief. You got to deal with your own ism. Because Teri, what did you ask me when we first started talking about these people in my life that I kept attracting?
What are you getting out of it? I remember that question.
I bristled up like a porcupine. I mean, I look like a cat that just saw a big dog that ran in the room. You know, those Halloween decorations of the cat. Yeah. That was what I looked like.
And some people will attract these individuals into their life, and other times you don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't see it. And again, like we talked about last week, there's a mirroring effect that happens. And so there's all of this truth that's there that's not being unveiled just yet. And then when people feel really safe, they unveil it, and then there's a shame for unveiling it, so they whip it back, and then everything starts to change. Everything. And then by that point, people are needing to believe that it can be better, that there's love there, that there's friendship there, that there's whatever it's there that they need it to be. They need it to be there. And then it's conditional. It's all conditional.
Every bit. Elizabeth says they're ugly, they're hurt, and their meanness doesn't ever change our goodness, though. Oh, that's a good line. That's good, Elizabeth. That person being ugly will never take away your beautiful soul, Devon. Thank you. Thank you. People who truly know and love you know that person is full of shite and not to be listened to. And you know, that's the thing when you get peace. It's like, if anyone listens, you know, I decided I went from the Betty White character in Golden Girls, but everybody likes me. Everybody has to like me. I have to make them like me, and to go, okay, not everybody's going to like me. I'm there. Candy Seaton just joins us. Hi, Candy. It's good to have you here. Let's move this into, we tend to go into work relationships, love relationships. Let's talk about parental relationships. Now, that is the box that our littles carry around. And being angry at a parent for something that happens when you were 9, that comes up, doesn't it?
Sure. I mean, I think I think any of our littles at any given time can be angry with a parent for things that happened when we were younger. But knowing as an adult how to reparent ourselves to ease whatever that dis-ease is within that relationship, you're not always going to get it by having a conversation with your parent, because human beings in general have a way of regenerating core memories. Even though they don't really regenerate them, they have a way of like flipping through the catalog and going, yeah, no, that couldn't be it. That couldn't be. Oh, there's one that's not so bad. No, this is how it happened right here. And it's like, no, that's not how it happened. Yeah, it is. You were so young. You're remembering it wrong.
Hello, there's my traveling gypsy, Brenda Williams. This discussion is so timely. Thank you. Well, Brenda, it's good to have you here. That parental thing is really weird. I remember bringing up something, and I'm not going to talk out of school, but I mentioned something, and you said, well, what would you have them do? And that was one of those Teri questions that stops you. Okay, what would it take to move you past this? You want them to just suddenly be different in their 80s than they were in their 20s? Do you want them to say, I'm sorry? And then finally, for me, it was like, well, yeah, that's right. My little said, I want her to say she's sorry. I mean, I know I was a sniveling mess. And you said, well, that's not going to happen. So now what we're going to do?
I'm sure I said, I'm glad you don't have a mouthful of water right now. I'm sure I said this might sting a little bit.
That's it. When your person that has harmed you, the narcissist, the person who has had this evil side to them, this secret side, this underhanded thing that you go, oh my God. And then, but you're the brunt of it, but everybody else goes, they're so sweet. They're so wonderful. And you have these horrible memories associated with so much. Well, when you said this might sting a little, I was not happy with that phrase.
Of course.
I was not happy with having to deal with it. But what would you have them do? And the truth is, you don't always get the apology. You may never get the apology. You don't get the it does not end like a Hallmark movie. I'm just going to tell you, where everybody resolves their issues.
But, and it's a big ass but, big ass but, we can apologize to our littles for allowing them. I feel like a politician doing that thing. We can apologize to our littles. We can apologize to that younger version of ourselves. We can make sure that part of us is okay. And once they're okay and we've reparented that part of us, you're going to find out you don't need that apology from somebody else. You don't need their closure. They don't need to take up any space in your life. Matter of fact, there's not even a place setting for them anymore. They're done. They had their chance. Now it's different with parents. But as you get older, parents either can choose to come on board and love you, and you love them. And sometimes that love, you've got a football field in between you. And sometimes you couldn't get a Skeeter's Peter in between you. You're so close. Like and that's all situational between people. But you, every one of you listening, get to decide when enough is enough. Stop putting happiness, power, love, appreciation, gratitude, worth, esteem. Stop putting that in everybody else's pocket. Because when these people walk away, and a lot of them will walk away, they walk away with a part of you that you won't ever get back because they don't give a shit enough to give it back. So don't give it out. Now, yes, we're going to fall in like and in love with people that are in our life, and we're going to want them to be there. A healthy person will make sure that they do their own reconciliation and that there isn't this broken ugliness in between a separation, a leaving. It might not be the first 10 minutes of it, but a healthy person will come back and say, hey, this wasn't necessarily, the way I wanted it to be. But if you're involved with somebody that is acting like a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old, and they want to leave, Tyler Perry says it best in when he's Medea, let them go. Let them go.
And everybody collectively said, as Lisa says, drop the mic, Teri.
I don't have the mic, but I got some of Jack's duty bags there.
Elizabeth says, I've also learned that I can't let past hurts and pains stop me from opening my heart in the future. Elizabeth, you're bringing up a very, very good point.
Absolutely.
When someone leaves that is detrimental to your soul and they take a piece of you with them, guess what? That piece can be a gaping open, sucking chest wound until you say, I'm going to let somebody else in. I'm going to love again. I'm going to find my joy. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to find nourishing people that don't make me feel the last. I'm literally going to find people who nourish this. And all of a sudden that hole is completely healed. I mean, it gets healed. It's the wildest thing. And you don't have that big sucking chest wound anymore. Don't let the person who leaves take that and leave that gaping hole. And you think you are too unhealthy to ever love again. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to hurt. And that wound will stay there as long as you let it. But you can feel it and it will heal. It will heal. And when you get nourishing, now I'm going to tell you something, when that nourishing person comes into your life and nourishing people, it's going to be uncomfortable as hell. Because you're going, I'm not going to let them do this for me. I'm not going to let them buy me a gift. I'm not going to let them say nice things to me, because if they say nice things, I cannot trust that. That'll pass too.
That will definitely pass.
It feels good to feel good.
But here, first and foremost, cultivating a mindset where, and I get it that not everybody, this is not for everybody, but well, it should be for everybody, but it's maybe a challenge for some people. Doing your own work, doesn't matter how many relationships you're in. It doesn't matter how many, you can take that rickety house of love and you can slap a new coat of paint on it, and you can put a for rent sign, and you can bring somebody new into your life. But if you are not doing the foundation work to make sure that thing isn't crumbling, you're going to bring new people in and they're going to think it's just the best ever. And then they're going to start seeing the flaws, and then they're going to want to move out of that house. And if you're not doing your work, whether you're the healthy, the unhealthy, or whether you're just as unhealthy as your other person, whatever, if you're not doing your work, you will never be able to see the true value of what you bring to the table in any relationship in your life. Family, friends, a romantic partner, work. You will always have self-doubt, and that will be hidden by anger, by denial, by withdrawal, by gaslighting, by talking shit about people behind their back. You will always be a person who will try to be a victim because that gets the attention. When you let that person walk away and that hole is in your heart, all they're walking away with is the kudzu. They're just walking away with visualize it as them walking away. They're taking their toxic with them. And if that happens to leave a little hole in your heart, or a big hole in your heart, you turn that inward on yourself and you start self-loving yourself, and you're accountable with yourself. You call bullshit on yourself, you're accountable with yourself. You hold yourself in the same regard you would hold anyone else, in any friend in light with. And you look at your accountability and you look at what needs to change. And then you be courageous enough to start making those changes, because when you start changing, it changes all the dynamics around you. And sometimes you lose friends over it. But you know what? If you're losing a friend because you're bettering yourself, then that person was a low rung friend. They were one of those friends that might be okay with you getting so high up into your wellness, your happiness, your joy. But once you got too far ahead for them, they're going to start pulling you back down. You don't need friends like that. You don't need friends. You don't need lovers. And if you've got family like that, then you need to set some boundaries with them too.
I don't know why when you started saying that, Uptown Funk started playing in my head. Dun, 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 hallelujah. Because that's the truth. And you don't have to erase a family member, but the boundary thing, very important. You don't have to say yes to everything anymore. You don't have to feel beholden to that anymore. You go, I say, I start putting people in categories, and I don't use the word friend lightly anymore. Oh, they're my best friend. I love them. They're the greatest. If I've met them twice and I've hung out and I've had deep conversations with them twice, not in the friend zone, I've met them. We've had a couple of really good conversations. Be honest with yourself about who people are. When they tell you who they are, believe them. And when you know who you are, believe yourself and figure out where you are in this. If you start feeling a physical reaction to someone in your life, a physical reaction like you're ill with them or nervous or anxious or those things, pay attention to those things, because our body and our psyche will tell us things when danger, Will Robinson, danger. There's, our psyche picks up on stuff, but we will rationalize those people out because it's so fun and so rosy to fall in love.
Well, and you bring up a good point about friendship, like knowing your friends. Like I know people who talk crap about people they work with every day, people they work with close every day. Mm-hmm. And then they'll turn around, and if that person is present, they'll call them, they'll crack jokes and they're my friend. Or they only socialize in party settings and they're my friend. And they need that connection to be validated. But that person behind closed doors doesn't even like themselves. And so you have to be careful when you get in that, because then you'll collect so many people that'll say they're friends and they're really not friends. They're just, I don't know what they are. They're acquaintances, they're whatever, But if you don't have somebody that knows who you are, mm-hmm. then they're probably not, they're more an acquaintance than they are a friend.
Elizabeth says, I got loads of acquaintances. Friends are special and in a whole other realm to me. And that's true. Mm-hmm. We are going to be bringing this to a close because we've gone 38 minutes now. And so I just want to bring it to a close. You guys are such a big part of what we do. Getting closer and closer to the holidays, we know that there's some prickly pears that are going to start to appear in our lives and our hearts and our psyches. And we start processing stuff when it comes to going home, seeing people, running into people in the grocery store that we haven't seen in a long time because it's the season of cheer. There's other seasons that happen along with the season of cheer. And we're going to open up some of these cans of worms. And if you got a worm you want us to uncover, send it to me in an email, devonoday, DEVONODAY @gmail.com. And we'll put it on here, getting rid of the resentment seeds and praying for our enemies. And it's, watch Frozen a couple of times and let it go.
And also, put yourself in a position where you're willing to allow your life to change in a positive way. Every time we have a change of season, there's so much change that happens in life. And it's inevitable that you're going to have change, you're going to have anger, you're going to have grief, you're going to have loss, you're going to have happiness, you're going to have all that. And if you know you're going to have that, start creating space for it. Because if you don't create space for it, then when happiness shows up, your anger suitcases are crowding and there's nowhere for that happiness to be. There's nowhere for it to root. There's nowhere for it to grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I would say that also, and I know that it takes work to get there, but you know, be willing to find that a space where you can live where you're just not attached to the need to wish ill on other people, because ultimately you don't want that wished on you. And not that, I mean, hell, maybe they do it, maybe they wish it on you or not. I'm not sure. I suspect probably, but just don't, just be mindful that the energy that you're putting out, it's your energy. And ultimately and inherently, if you are a loving soul, you can have pain shards you can throw out, but ultimately, you know, good is going to prevail in that.
And if I can also add this, when the good people come along, don't make them, when you have all that anger and shrapnel around you, don't make the new person who might be the nourishing person, those new people who come into your life, don't make them responsible for what damage the older person, the other person, the evil person left you with. They're not responsible for that hurt. Don't judge them by that. Don't make them have to make up for all that. That's our responsibility. We have to take care of healing ourselves so that when the new person comes in, they meet a healthy person.
Yeah.
And
well, here's the thing. If you're getting in a relationship, work relationship, friendship, whatever, intimate partnership with somebody else, and you're making them pay the karmic debt of the person before you or before them, you're no different than the person that just abused you and left you. Right. You're no different.
Right.
You're doing the same thing, you know, but we might paint it up and make it look a little prettier, but you're still doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. So,
and thank you, Candy. Keep spreading kindness. That's a beautiful way to end our show. Keep spreading kindness. And that's what we try to do each and every week in helping you through, heavy lifting for a lighter spirit. That's what our tagline was for this show from the very beginning. And that's where we are. Teri saved my life. I credit her for that. And I was ready to do the work. It took me 2 years of, us chatting from time to time, and 2 years for me to make the call. Don't let it take you 2 years. I'm just going to tell you, it's life-changing and it's different. And I went to therapists. I went to other people. I did all sorts of work and 8 million churches that were all very good, but I didn't get the tools until I talked to Teri. And if you're in a place where you need some tools, some real practical, okay, here's what I got to do. This will help. This will help. So TeriPugh.com. And Teri, you take us home.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.
I do appreciate you. And we appreciate all of you joining us on whatever platform you find us on. We appreciate you choosing to spend your time and your energy with us, and look forward to Wednesdays. I look forward to Wednesdays. I look forward to them. So
me too.
And whatever you're doing in your day to day, consciously and cognitively create space just to give yourself a little bit of reflection so that you can see where you're going and see where you've been and choose. If you like where you're going, then great. Keep the clippers out and keep clipping the kudzu away, where your gardening gloves. And if you don't like where you're going, pivot. Because we get to a point in life where there are fewer days ahead of us than there are behind us. And if you give your happiness, your love, just because you give your happiness and your love to one person or a parent, a friend, a lover, whatever, and they choose to abuse that or misuse that, You know that you are created by the universe, by God, and there's an unlimited amount that resides inside you. Don't let somebody come in and piss in all of that pure, because you've got so much to give and the world needs it right now.
Amen.
So with that, I will say we love you. And until we see you next Wednesday, increase the peace. See ya.